Mr. Benja, I got something, man. We're talking
Talk.
about battles and probably about people throwing flames on folks, man. Did you know there's been a hot flame battle at Disney right now? Were you aware of that?
I heard some rumblings, but I didn't get the scoop.
Yeah, man. So Disney was involved in a proxy battle on the board. So this is the business side of show versus business, but Disney has a board. These are people who kind of help Disney run the corporate machinations and all that. So there's about what 6 members or so, and Bob Iger, as the CEO, is the chair of that board. He was now he's more on the board, and so they do what they call corporate governance, guide direction that Disney should go. Well, recently, because the stock was down and then Bob Iger's been having a hell of a time. We talked about this in previous episodes of all the shenanigans going on at Disney. They got some beef. There was some what they call activist investors, folks who have money in Disney saying the board is effing up. Get rid of these jokers. We want to put 2 of our members on the board to dictate where Disney can go. So it was run by some billionaires, of course. This is some billionaire gamemanship. This is all this is. Nelson, I got it here. Nelson Peltz. And then Nelson Peltz is a big time guy. He's been all over the place buying big companies. But the name that Nelson Peltz is working with is a name called Ike Perlmutter. Do you know who Ike Perlmutter is?
Yes, he is the I wanna call it I just call him the mean guy in my just thinking about him, but he was the mean version of, Iger after he left and just was about the money, started making some changes, and a lot of people didn't like how he was nickel and diming. It became a whole story.
Absolutely.
So,
He
yes.
was a president of a Marvel right before they sold to Lucas
Yes.
Film, and he was still part of that process, and so he was the one that kinda got Marvel out of bankruptcy because he was nickel and diming everything. Marvel had went through some bad times, right? That's why they were licensing the Fantastic Four. We all saw those horrible steals videos of the Fantastic Four by Robert Corman, right? And that was Ike Perlmutter's business, right? And that's how Fox got X-Men, Sony got Spider-Man because they needed the money. Marvel was broke.
Yeah.
So when they finally sold to Disney and then Kevin Feige came in and started running the business, Ike was still part of that process, but he fought Kevin Feige tooth and nail. Matter of fact, he was totally against Black Panther. He said, nobody wants to buy black superhero toys. When that happened and Black Panther made $1 billion, Ike had to go. So anyway, he's still fuming. He's got money. He ain't hurting, but he's in the 70s, 80s. So what else he gonna do? So he got with some guys and said, "Hey, we're gonna go. Disney's soft now. We're gonna try to go and get some board seats so we can take it over from inside." And so they did this big shenanigans where they were gonna try to take over the board. And Iger was dealing with a lot of different things, and this is one of the things he was dealing with, trying to figure out how to keep these jokers from coming on his board and influencing the direction of Disney. So that's why we saw Iger do a lot of things. We talked about this. He basically talked about $60 million investment in Disney World to expand upon that and do more with it. He talked about Hulu and integrating with Disney Plus. Now, my stuff that the other Chapek wanted to do, but Bob Iger pushed it further along, right? Because he had
Mhm.
to make some moves faster. And then he also wanted to do a bunch of other things, and he got Taylor Swift. He paid her some money to do a streaming concert, basically bought her a streaming concert and brought it on Disney Plus. So he did all these moves in like less than 90 days. So he can show we're moving forward. And because of that, the stock went up. So when I'm calling myself too, because I'm a Disney stockholder, full disclosure. You actually get voting lists, right? To who you can vote for. Do you want these jokers on the board? And so you get your sheet, and it's not like a regular voting sheet that you normally
Okay.
see. Oh, do you want this person, that person? It says, hey, do you want this person on board? And but guess what? If you do, that's great because this is who the board wants. But if you don't, then that sucks. It's so
Yeah.
important. So it's almost like I got that thumb on the scale to influence you one way or the other. So in that too, it's just like any voting mechanism. You vote for who you want on the board, and the board gives their recommendation. And then they also had 4 other items. It was weird, man. They had an item for more transparency and who Disney gives their money to from a political standpoint. And obviously that came from political reasons. They had some stuff issues around transgender and wondering why Disney was investing so much in transgender education and things of that nature.
Okay.
And the board was like, "No, we don't want any of that transparency. Vote against that." And so anyway, so I voted, and then they had their call the other day, And it was so funny. So they talked, and it was the board chair. He talked. I forgot his name, but he talked. And then they gave everyone who was opposed to the board their 2 minutes. The guys that wanted a board member, Nelson Peltz and the Titan Corporation, that's the name of the PE firm, a private equity firm that wanted to get a board seat. He just went on and on. Disney sucks, and so many words. Disney sucks. And Bob Iger done crap, and this and that. He went over his time, and they interrupted him. Excuse me, sir. Your time is over. Please stop. So it was just seeing the fight at that level.
Yeah.
It's just funny. It's just a little bit more polite, but it's also mean spirited. And needless to say, Iger won. Say he was able to keep those guys off his board. But it was interesting to see it played at such a high level. And so Disney is okay for now. We'll see.
I like how Iger gave this quote. It said, as Iger reminded investors in the video, as we gather today, we stand on a far more solid foundation, which has been fortified by our ambitious course of action over the past year. We're once again building for growth. It it's like statements like that. You're like, oh wait, if you weren't building for growth before then, what was going on? Oh yeah,
Yeah,
picking
shenanigans.
up the pieces from. I just love the way they
Shenanigans.
talk.
Yeah, corporate speak, man. But it was so after we did the voting, then Iger did his whole presentation on what they were doing. So all the investments in Fortnite, all the new movies, Deadpool coming out. So really pushing how Anna 2's coming out with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, the original cast. And so just really trying to pump up Disney and where it's going for the future outside this battle that he had to fight. So it's interesting to see. Is Disney safe? I don't know, Mr. Benja. I still think they're soft. They don't have enough. And it being the entertainment business right now is tough. I just see that more and more. Not only do you have technology, AI bubbling up, trying to take over, but then you also have the big tech companies get into your business. And then also you have YouTube and stuff really realizing your audience because YouTube is the most watched streaming service, as we discussed previously. So do kids really want to watch movies anymore? Do they want to watch TV? So what stories are you telling that's going to be more compelling? If it's outside of IP, nobody's watching it. If it's not something they already know
Yeah,
about or are
yeah,
interested in. So Disney is finds itself in a very unique, precarious situation. And so we shall see. We'll keep up to date on the business side of where Disney could be going.
good.